שלום במרומה, עושה שלום במרומה, עושה שלום במרומה, עושה שלום במרומה.
לשמוע את הקהל. מה עם רק אנשים? שנייה. איך נשמעים הגברים? מה עם הילדים?
the earth. You will go down to the sea. I know that it's a ring. The other friends there waiting for the fence. Isaiah 42, 10 through 13.
There we go. Oh, it's so heavy. Look at that. Oh my gosh, look at all those bananas.
Thanks again for joining us, all of you.
Let's close in prayer.
And let's close in prayer.
Let them give a glory to the Lord and declare His praise in the earth.
Hey, Shaloha and welcome everybody. It's great to see you guys here. If you notice that this chair is empty today, Noble does have eye surgery coming up next week, and he has a couple projects he had to finish before the surgery on Tuesday, and so he's spending all day today and all day tomorrow working on those things so that he can be ready when Tuesday comes around. So just so you, if you're wondering where Noble's at, please keep him in prayer. That will be like our first prayer request I think I should address, because it's kind of a scary thing. I mean, we need our eyes. It's a cataract surgery. It's kind of a really common one to have done. But the doctor did say that the risk is a little bit higher if you've had LASIK, which Noble has had on both eyes. So have I. So please keep Noble in your prayer. But yeah, he will be teaching next weekend, Yah willing. So we'll just continue to keep him in prayer. We just want to welcome you. Thank you guys for submitting all your prayer requests. We just finished with Digital Readers Club. We had a really good read that was going on in there with the Legends of the Jews. We were reading about the spies that went to spy out Canaan, and having an excellent discussion afterwards about the giants that they saw. There's so much more detail in that text in Legends of the Jews about the giants and exactly how huge they were. I mean, like, they said that the sun was at their ankles. Like, my goodness, they must have been massive. In the Bible, it doesn't even make it sound like they were even giants, and a lot of times scholars and 501c3 churches teach that the giants were just like tall people, nothing massive, nothing like half fallen angel or partial fallen angel or anything. But
wait, the sun at their ankles, is it a rising or a setting sun?
I know, right? I
Because
think
it can't be a noonday sun, right?
I don't think so. That would be. I mean, that's
that.
more like the angel's height, I think. But yeah, I think probably the setting sun. They're probably just. I didn't say in the text, but that's what I would guess. But it talked about how one of the children of these giants was eating a pomegranate. Of course, we know that their fruit was huge. I mean, we get some more information in Legends of the Jews about exactly how big the fruit was. It talks about she was eating a pomegranate and she threw the peel into like a cave, and into an area, and the spies thought the pomegranate peel was a cave. So they went to go hide in it, and that's how huge the fruit was. But anyway. Okay, so lots of great stuff going on in Legends of the Jews. If you'd like to join us, Digital Readers Club, I see a lot of people in here in chat already who were in Digital Readers Club, but we do have some special guests today from a channel called The Flat Out Truth, our friends Paulino and Chelsea Michael, and they'll be hanging out and just holding on, guys, until we finish our prayer requests, which we always start out our class with. So without further ado, let's open in prayer, all right? Dear Abba, we just thank you so much for bringing us all here today to fellowship and to learn more about you, and ultimately to draw closer to you. Just thank you so much that we can be in one accord here. We ask you to bring those who need to hear this message, who may be seeking and just looking for truth. Abba, we just thank you that you have opened our eyes and our ears to see and hear truth, and we just thank you that we have this opportunity online, even using the Fallen Angel tech, to just be able to expand and to reach people all over the world. Thank you again for this ministry. Please have your hands on the technology so that it is a clear connection. Thank you for Isaac and Kaylee for being here with me to help with this class. Thank you again for Paulino and Chelsea being willing to come here as well. We just ask you in advance, Abba, to please have your hands in all these prayer requests we will be presenting, and to comfort those who are not feeling well or who have lost a loved one, and to rejoice with those who have praise reports as well. Thank you again, Abba, in your son Yeshua's name. Amen. All right, let me get something to drink here. Isaac, we're ready to do prayer requests. If you want to put that screen up, please.
Did you want to make it bigger, or?
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Hit the
forgot how
play
to do that.
button Right next to Keynote Live, to your left.
Play.
Yeah, right there.
There we go. All right. So we have some new prayer requests that came in. I wanted to announce one before we start going over these by DKNY, who is in the chat. He wanted us to pray for his friend Simon, who was wrongfully jailed for 25 years and is innocent of the crime. So
Simon Peter again.
I'm not sure what
Jeez.
Simon is. He just said Simon in the chat, but we want to continue. That person needs the intervention of the Most High so that he doesn't have to serve that much time for a crime that he didn't commit. Continued prayers for Valerie. She'd asked for continued protection and healing, and for her finances. She is a single mom with 5 children that she's supporting. For Tammy's son, Chris, this past week he had a heart attack, and we just want to definitely keep him in our prayers as well as her entire family. It's really rough. He is only 45 years old, which is very young to have heart condition. Also for Kay and Grace, there are ongoing prayer requests right now. Grace has been located. She's in an emergency foster home. For those of you who haven't heard this, the details about this, Grace has been raised most of her life in foster care with her cousin Kay as her guardian, and she's recently began running away after she was placed with Kay's mother, and just a lot of other issues going on. So she's 14. If you can please continue to keep her in prayer. For our friend Bobby Correa, he is part of our in-person Bible study, and he'd asked for prayer for his health as he's been having some joint pain from doing MMA fighting the majority of his life, and for completion of his projects. He does have a praise report. He did complete one of his projects, so that's always good news. For our friend Tyasha, she's part of our online fellowship, and she has recently gotten a MS diagnosis. We just pray that she is able to find natural remedies. And Tyasha, if you're listening, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. One of the cures, or one of the treatments, natural treatments for MS that I've been reading about, is the same thing that I'm doing for bee sting. It's a bacterial infection that can easily be eradicated through the help of our little yellow and black striped friends, the bees. For Christy Frost, continued prayers for her health, her finances, for her dogs. This is an ongoing prayer request from Christy, and we appreciate you, sister. I believe you're in the chat here. Thank you again to all of our moderators who always show up for us all the time, for Monkulis, for Tammy George, for Sherry. Just really appreciate all you guys. And Kaylee George is in the chat as well, my daughter-in-law, if you want to say hi to her. And just thank you so much. I see this from Nomadic Ministries. Pray for Angeline and Scott in the wilderness and need guidance. Okay, Nomadic, we'll add this prayer request to our list. And let's see, for Leonard, continued healing, brother. Leonard's been reaching out to us on email to give us some updates about his health condition. For Donna, the same day that Tammy's son had the heart attack, Donna's grandson, Elijah, was hospitalized. We were praying for Elijah a couple of years ago. So continue prayers for Donna's grandson. For Priscilla, one of our listeners who reached out to us via email, she wanted prayers for her grandmother who's having some parasite issues. They do know all of the different treatments. Of course, the medical establishment doesn't even believe that these things exist, but I'm just grateful that they are well aware of how to treat this condition. For our listeners, Jensing and Basliel, safety and protection from the evil one, we continue to lift them up in prayer. And again, for Noble, I mentioned this already, on this week, Tuesday morning in Hawaii here, he will be having cataract surgery on one eye. So we ask that everyone please pray that this goes smoothly and that he'll come out being able to see much better than the double vision and blurriness he's been dealing with for the past few months. For Reynolds family, Nathan Reynolds and Chelsea Reynolds, protection over them. They've been going through quite a bit of spiritual and physical attacks, and so we definitely want to continue to keep them in prayer. We're still reaching out to them to see if they are willing to join us on our show again. We had a great time when they were here the last few times, and we've enjoyed being on their channel as well, if you want to check out those videos. And also for Chelsea, who is in our chat, and she's also a special guest on today. She had prayers for her family, the condolences because of the loss of her uncle this past week. And yes, we'll definitely keep you guys in prayer. Chelsea, her uncle is named JV. All right, Hallelujah reports. Some of these are from last week. I believe all of these actually. If you do have a Hallelujah report or praise report, please send us to this via email, or you can put it in the chat here on YouTube. If you do have any updates to any of the prayer requests I just covered, please send us an email, or you can put it in the chat. I'll be watching it as well, as much as I can today. Probably not as much as usual. But thank you guys for supporting us. And people always ask, how can we support you? What can we send you something? Oh, hello, I'm back on camera. Thank you, Isaac. They always ask if we get, and we just guide them to go to sacredwordpublishing.com. You can purchase our items that we have for sale there. We don't usually take donations, but if you do want to donate, just send us an email and I'll tell you how you can do that. But we just thank you to these people who have been supporting us, and for Jency and Bazliel, for Brick, and for Dean Nicely, and his healing. We just thank you guys for praying for Brother Dean. We plan to have Dean on, I believe it'll be next month, or maybe in October, presenting more about health and his healing. So I know you guys all enjoyed that one last time. But anyway, okay. I just feel so alone up here. Isaac will be having a conversation with me.
Sorry, I'm the man behind the curtain.
No,
right
no,
now,
it's okay.
so.
It's okay. I want to keep reaching over and saying, no, but what do you think of this? But he is not here. All right. So thank you guys for hanging out with us here today. I'm just looking at the chat here to see if I'm missing any prayer requests before we get going. All righty. So let's give a big welcome to our special guests today. We do have Paulino and Chelsea Michael here joining us. I'm going to have them share how you can reach them, a little bit about their ministry, how you can find them online. There's a whole bunch of different ways. They're like these techie people that I definitely am not. So, yes, Isaac. Oh, Isaac's pointing. There we go. Okay. Hey, Paulino, Chelsea. Yeah, can you please share like how we can reach you, a little bit about yourself, your different platforms that you're on, and your goals? Like, I know you're a fairly new ministry. I remember several months ago when you just started this ministry out, and maybe a little background of how you guys got started.
All right. Well, I'm Chelsea. No, I'm not.
Okay.
No, I'm Paulino B. Michael, and my wife is Chelsea B. Michael, and she's my techie, my ITer. And so I guess we've been doing this now for, 9 months maybe now.
Oh, wow.
It seems so like it went so fast.
It did.
Like we were talking to you guys and we were doing Discord for our beta testing. And what ended up happening is we just kept rolling with it. And before you know it, we went out of Discord shut down for 2 weeks, came back with our own platform that we own. It's like Facebook or Discord itself, but it's like on steroids. And we just kept adding to it, more graphics, better sound, better video. And so now it's time to amp up even more. We got more stuff coming out. Like I started out with music, and then I was told by Most High to put that to the side to work on the platform. Like now we have merch. Like I'm wearing merch right now. I wear this for Noble.
Oh,
It's see the Hawaiian?
Goodness. Oh, I'm gonna have to make sure he sees this. Wow,
The flat out
that is
truth
cool.
on there.
I see it.
Yeah,
Very
so-
nice. You got a nice Hawaiian shirt there.
Yeah, so we have all kinds of merch like that on there. We have all kinds of, we're merched up. I mean, anything you can think of, we got. I think I designed 500 items at least.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so
what?
I got polo shirts, T-shirts, hoodies, everything you can. And now I'm getting to the fun part because like that's
Okay.
just all logo branding stuff. You know, that's how you start out. You have to get your brand out. We have brand colors and things like that. And so now I get to start doing the artistic stuff. But yeah, it's been a journey. It's fun, man. It's only amping up. And then like, I think it was 3 weeks ago now, music came back in, but I'll let Chelsea tell everybody how they can reach us.
Yeah, so we are reachable in lots of places. The number one, obviously, if you go to theflatouttruth.com, and it's the flat out truth. Everybody likes to just say flat out. It is theflatouttruth.com. Otherwise, it doesn't quite go there. But we have YouTube, which is a Flat Out Truth 33. We have Rumble, which is just the Flat Out Truth. We're on Spotify now. We've got X. We've got Facebook. We've got a Facebook page and a Facebook group. I highly recommend the group. And like he already mentioned our merch store. So, but that's the best place to go is, like I said, the flatouttruth.com, because that's our website, and it'll direct you to anywhere you need to go. But the best place to go is our private platform on there. And the reason being is, and you guys have come on to our show and been a guest,
Yes, we
and can tell the difference. It's like, okay, we're talking on YouTube where love YouTube, love you guys. And then we have that behind the scenes where we can talk, Pauline likes to say unchained.
Yes, they talk
yeah.
on chain. Yes.
So,
All right.
but that way we can actually have all of those discussions. So,
Yeah, we can say, you know, about the C and
You
the
can
other
say the
C.
hokey pokey and, you know, the real word.
Yeah,
You got
the
it.
C,
Yeah, we
all
just-
that stuff. Yeah.
Make sure you turn
Yeah,
yourself
so-
around.
Well, we sure had a great time being on your show that time, and it was a little strange. I wasn't prepared for, okay, we're gonna switch. I wasn't sure even what was going on, but now I get it. I totally get it. 'Cause I'm like probably the most non-tech person here, and here
Yeah.
meaning between Isaac and me, because Isaac is like a total techie guy. He is like our techie guy. But anyway, yeah. Oh, and here he is. All right. Thank you for joining us.
I was trying to find an appropriate time to come climbing in, and I was just like, it's
Oh,
not
you
gonna
can
be
climb
one, just go for
anytime
it.
you want.
He's all
Yeah, just go
crawling.
for
I'm
it.
watching him. He's all crawling on the ground all over. I'm like, what the world? Okay, sorry if I was a little distracted, but thank you.
oh, I
guys.
get it. Transitions are hard.
100%.
Thank you so much for presenting all that information. Did you want to talk about a little? I know you said you started this about 9 months ago or so. Did you want to talk about the background a little bit and just share
Sure.
with everyone like how you got started? What was the inspiration? How you woke up to the Earth being not a globe?
Yeah, because like, all right, what happened is like I've always been a truther like my whole life. So like, gets me in trouble with friends, family, school. They don't like it when you ask questions. And I was always
Yep.
an artist, so they'd be like, "Oh, go work on you got to work on your spelling or your math." And I'd go, "All right." But then I'd ask them a question about things that didn't make sense. I go, "Why don't you go draw? Go draw on the walls out there, and you know Disney characters or whatnot. You know, 3 hours a day." And you know the other kids thought it was cool because I didn't have to do regular schoolwork. But anytime, all the way through junior high, high school, same thing. Nobody wanted to answer any questions. You know, either they couldn't or didn't want to. Probably
Yeah.
didn't know, but
I agree.
so that's how it all started. And like I've been like that my whole life. So when it came to, you know, like certain things that we shouldn't talk about, like the hook, bang bang, and the 911 and all those type of things. Yeah, those all made me like start questioning even more and more. And it seemed like it got more amped up. 2012 for me. And then it just kept going. And then I met Chelsea 2015, and I was revamping my graphic novel at the time. So I was trying to do background stories, and then fell into like constitutional law, admiralty law, and all that. And there was something happening in Oregon, and there was some people were fighting the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, for a land grab or whatever in Oregon. So all these ranchers got together to back up these other ranchers. And then Chelsea started watching it with me, and they were doing lives on YouTube. I mean, like uncensored. Everybody that was on that reserve that was like standing up, protesting, was on live.
Wow.
And something ended up happening after they were moving from one constitutional jurisdiction to another one. They were ambushed in that sector, and one of the men was unlived at that point. That
wow.
point, and
Wow.
he was a great man, just a rancher. He had like 29 different foster kids, and they had 11 of their own kids that they went through their ranches. A great man, biblical guy. And Chelsea even remembers his birthday. It's on her phone. So every
Wow.
year he comes up. His name's Lavoy Finicum. And well, anyway, after that incident happened, it was like 3 days later, I came in and found about FE. And then I was like, well, let me do the measurements. Yep, it is. There's no way it would work that quick. It was really quick.
Well, you're
I used to
probably
play
the quickest
volleyball.
one I've ever heard of wake up to that. Like myself, several months. Noble, almost a year. Isaac was pretty quick though.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, see, he's very, very logical, and he can do math so fast in his head.
Yeah, I was like, because I used to play volleyball on our west coast of Michigan, Lake Michigan, and you could see Chicago. But at the time, you know, we were just playing volleyball. Me and my buddies would be playing tournaments or whatever, but it would always be like, hey, you can see Chicago, and we'd be like 60 miles out in Muskegon or wherever, 51 miles, and I'd be like, okay, who's got next. That's all I cared about. But then when you start like falling in this, you do the math, you're like 50 miles, it doesn't work. 20 miles, it doesn't work. 60 miles, it definitely doesn't work. And then I did all that and I was like, no. And then I was like, how does GPS work? So I did all this myself. So I still stick to measurement when I talk about this. If anybody brings it up, I'm the Mike Tyson. Find me your curved words for elevation level, eye level, sea level, altitude, what a mile is, a linear measurement. How they use the sextants to measure the angles to the stars. You can't get an angle measurement from a sphere. It has to be flat, like it's 5th grade math, right?
Yeah.
Everybody uses a protractor, right? And it's flat with a little curve on it that has the angles.
Yes.
So it has to be a flat surface. It can be sea level or surface level, but they're both level. So I always tell these people that want to debate me, tell me your curved words for sea level and elevation level. Any of the levels, show me your curved level word. They can't do it.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. The compass is another good one. How does the
Yes.
compass always point north, and why do you have to hold it flat on your palm instead of at an angle to like go for the curve? You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's another good.
And it's funny because when I first found that out and I told Chelsea, it was right after Lavoie's incident. And she was just like, I'm just not ready yet. Right.
Yep,
She made me wait.
I did.
I go, I got a big one. And she's like, I have to wait.
Yeah, it takes a
Yeah.
while to go through all of that indoctrination, especially if you've gone to college. For me, that was really rough. It took me like maybe 2 or 3 months before I could finally face Noble's brother again, who was the one that tried to wake both of us up to it. Noble was just, he wouldn't have it. He was just like, no, I'm not ready for that either. It took him almost a year.
Yeah.
I told Isaac,
Yeah.
and like Isaac said, he was like, oh, okay, yeah, I agree. Because, here in Hawaii, it's easy. Like you could see Kauai from standing on the beach
Yeah.
100 miles away, and you could see it. So you can see the beaches there with binoculars. There's even a closer
Wow.
island just south of us, Molokai, about 35 miles. And I've actually, when I was in high school, I would sit on the beach that's facing Molokai. I would put up binoculars and I could see people playing volleyball 35 miles away on Molokai Beach. So I was just like,
Yeah.
okay, well, that makes sense. I mean, you go through all these scenarios that you've been programmed with in your mind, how many times, and then you go to reality of what you've actually seen with your eyes, and it's like, okay, I have to believe my eyes here. But
Yeah,
anyway,
because we were all indoctrinated that it's too big, right? So it seems flat.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
do the math, you go, it's not that big at all. They
right.
should have made the lie bigger, is what they should have did. Even then it wouldn't work, but it would make it more, it would fight it more, I think.
Yeah.
But like with Chelsea, it was like 3 or 4 days later, she goes, okay, I'm ready.
Oh,
and I
that
go,
was actually pretty quick.
yeah. And I go, the earth is, not round, our sphere. And she's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, I think the reason it clicked for me is because one, I was already like, my worldviews were already crumbling, so I was like, "What's one more?" But I actually went to school for video game design, and so
Oh, really? No wonder you're so good. Okay.
Yeah, I know I am a nerd. I won't claim to be the best by any means, but I'm nerd enough, I guess. And so when you create them, everything you build is level. Everything you create, all your terrain, everything, like they're just like how it is. There's hills, there's mountains, there's valleys, but it's still all on this flat surface.
Yeah.
So
And like if you're shooting a make-believe bullet in video
Yes.
games or a ray gun laser,
Yep.
they don't do any curve or Coriolis effect.
no,
They
there's no
just shoot
Coriolis
straight.
effect.
That's it.
Yes.
They use an angle. That's it.
Just the parabola trajectory. That's all you got.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Isaac, you can relate with that. I'm sorry, I don't play video games. Isaac actually pointed that out to me. I'm not sure what game that was, but Isaac pointed that out to me too. Like, well, video games, everything's flat, so makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
That's how you build it.
oh yeah. So then what happened is, so that happened, and I was doing research for my graphic novel, and it's based on science and what I thought was biblical. And then I did more research and I go, that's not in the Bible. That wasn't in the Bible. And and it's strange because then I was like, well, what's in the Bible? And then I started hearing, the Elohim, like, just keep going, keep finding me. And so I just kept finding them. And when I met Chelsea was Lutheran, and she had this awe about her when she would talk about the Most High. She'd be like, oh, and I go, I want some awe. Give me my all. Where's my all at? So I try. So I try to go to. She goes, "You want to go to church with me?" And I went. And the first time I seen him do all that ritual stuff, I was
Oh
like,
my
"Nope, I'm out."
gosh.
I was like,
Yeah,
"I'm out." And I go, "That's not God." I said, "That's not God here." And then
not at all.
I just kept going. And then she was like, "You're right. It's all like Madman traditions." And so we kind of got off of that, and we went down our own researching, and then with the whole FE. And next thing you know, I found Rob Skiba and Zen Garcia. You know Zen. And so,
Yeah,
you know that guy.
Wait, who?
And you know, Zen. But it's like, yeah, it was really great. And and we just started, going like, oh my God, we have these in common. We're not the like crazy people. There's more crazy people. And so we just did more research, and then it's a lot of confirmation from Zen, and Rob would come up, and then it got really crazy going into 2017. Most High was like, "You're going to start a podcast," and I'm like, "I am," and he's like, "Yeah." And then I told Chelsea, "We're supposed to start a podcast," and she goes, "Well, what's the name?" I go, "The Flat Out Truth," and she's like, "Oh my God, that's such a great name." But she goes, "It's got to be taken." Looked it up, wasn't taken.
Nope.
She was so shocked.
I was like, we looked it up on every social media. We looked it up on like website domains, all of that. And it was there.
Yeah, and he saved it for me.
Yep.
What's the? It came into me. He's like, "This is what I want you to name it," and I told Chelsea. She's like, "It's got to be taken,"
Yeah.
and we got it. The flatouttruth.com, and then he goes, "You got to buy another one," and this is another one I thought would be taken. We actually own burninhell.com.
Really?
Wow, I would have just picked
Yeah.
that one too.
That is a good one.
Yeah, why is
Go
that
check
not
that out.
gone?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
It's taboo.
Yeah,
it's
we
taboo.
Yeah, isn't
I
that
guess
crazy?
so.
But yeah, so it's burn and with an n.com.
Yeah.
So burninhell.com with the N.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
but it's still cool. I mean,
Yeah.
actually cooler than the and,
Yeah.
with the N.
Yeah,
So-
I have a quick question to ask Chelsea before I forget. So,
yeah, go ahead.
I was raised Lutheran as well. My dad was a Lutheran
Yep.
principal and pastor. So was my grandpa, so
Wow.
my great grandpa. I mean, everybody. But anyway,
Wow.
yeah, both sides. Okay, so heavily
tradition.
indoctrinated. But the first time not the first time. One of the times I brought Isaac when he was younger, because I did not take I
She loved
I
this
did not
story.
remain in the Lutheran church. I did not bring my
Yep.
children to the Lutheran church, except if we visited a relative. I told them if we stay with one of my relatives, we are pretty much required to go to the Lutheran church just to respect them. If they go to church, to Lutheran church, we need to go along, especially if it's for
Yeah,
a special
I understand
event, like, one of their baby baptisms or whatever. So we went to my nephew's baby baptism. Of course, you have the 2-week cutoff mark, at least in Missouri Synod. I was taught that if the baby is not baptized before their 2 weeks, they go to hell, and they can go to their website. But but anyway,
I don't think ours ever said that.
but anyway, that's what I was taught.
Bring your unbaptized child to our website.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So
Dang.
So I brought Isaac. I think he was maybe 11 or 12 years old or so, and we sat right next to the organist. The organist kind of was in the back of the church, but still kind of right next to the pews, so that we sat like directly next to her. And the entire introduction that she was giving before the church service, Isaac was just like fixated on her feet, because he'd never seen, organists are awesome. They look like they're dancing with their feet and their hands.
They do.
And Isaac was
I
like,
have also seen
he
one.
was like ADHD, so he was like so entranced. He was just like staring, and then
I'm
when
a
she
musician,
when
too,
she
so.
stopped, he was like, "Oh my gosh!" And he was just like, "Yeah!" And he's like, going, "Yeah," because we're used to going to like Pentecostal type of churches and everything. And then
Yeah.
I don't know if your Lutheran church was like this, but clapping in Lutheran church is taboo, at least in the Missouri Synod. And so it was like dead silent, and all you hear is Isaac going, "Yeah!" And he's like clapping, and my auntie looks over at him and gives him like the
So
dirty
funny.
look, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Isaac!" And I said, "I'm so sorry, we cannot clap." He's like, "Wait, you guys don't clap in church?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay."
Yeah. When I was little, that was pretty similar to mine. Now, I was in a much smaller church, so but we were also Missouri Synod, so
Okay,
same
okay.
branch and everything. It was also frowned upon to make too much noise. However, I was also a rambunctious child and just crawled through the pews. So I did grow out of that eventually. But that's actually not as funny as Paulino's story, where he had a deacon when he was little, and like might tell the story again.
Yeah, I'll tell it in a minute.
He's way better at stories. That's why he's the head of the Flat Out Truth, obviously. And but that he wasn't allowed to go to the bathroom. But I was not. Ours was not that bad. We were allowed to go to the bathroom. We were allowed to get up and go and stuff. But yeah, if you were in church and you were there, it was still very strict. It was still very solemn, and I can't say clapping was frowned upon, but if you were too loud, yeah, they kind of looked at you a little weird. But
Yeah,
ours was small enough that if you had kids, they were like, "Oh, it's their kids." So
I know. I was like, what happened to like make a joyful noise before the Most High? And what is up with that? I don't know what the whole thing is with the silence and with the, just only an organ is allowed. This is like a really traditional.
You're only allowed to
I
make
mean,
a
they're-
joyful noise when they say you're allowed to make a joyful.
that's why they call them diet Catholics. So
Wow.
Gosh. Yeah.
yeah,
that's
it's
true.
like, well, you won't get smacked for it, but yeah, that's frowned upon, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So what's
Yeah.
Paulina's story?
They're more chill, and they are more chill now. I know from
from
because my mom still goes, but
Yeah.
so they're more chill now. But I know when I was little, it was a little more strict. So
Yeah, recently we went to my auntie's Lutheran church in Georgia when we were there a couple of years ago, and it's still kind of, they have all the robes and all like the rituals and whatever, but I noticed it is pretty much more relaxed. And also, I was very surprised to see non-white people in there, which is another kind of Lutheran thing where it's very rare anyway in the churches I've been to to have. I mean, Isaac's like, how come everybody's white? I mean, like when he was little.
Oh no.
It's like a German
That's
thing. I
funny.
kept saying it's like the roots are in Germany.
Yes, it is
so-
German. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to hear Paulina's story.
There you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, you want to hear the church story? This is pretty funny. All right. So when I grew up, I guess in 1974, my dad started a church, or helped start a church in 1974, here in Lansing, Michigan. And what happened is, I remember being like 4 or 5. My mom and dad were still married, and we would go to church, and it was brand new. They had just got it built. I remember when they moved it, like started out in a basement, then a RV, a smaller building, and then they got one built. But anyway, so I remember being in this building, and I'd have to go to the bathroom, and they would go, and the same deacon would go, you can't because they're singing. I'm like, all right. And then they're like, you can't because they're praying. I'm like, okay. Well, you can't because he's preaching. I'm like, man, these guys are never going to let me go to the bathroom. And it just kept happening, for a couple of years. Then my mom and dad got divorced. We moved out of town. And then we came back when I was like 13. So like 7 years later. And go to that church. My dad no longer goes there. But we go there. Same deacon. Same thing.
gosh.
13, 14, and 15. And my mom would, she had an uncle that was also a deacon, but he ran the music part. And I had a cousin that was I looked up to. He got all the girls. I'm just being honest. So I was like, I would be like him. He's really cool. They ended up moving away. And but the same deacon would say the same thing, like, oh, you can't go there praying. I was like, I heard this the whole thing. And so my mom was like, oh, you don't have to go anymore. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I don't go. And anytime somebody would bring up church, because I believe in God. I mean, I believe in, like the Most High. I knew there was somebody, but I didn't believe in the church, the traditions. Even as a young kid, it didn't make sense to me. But anyway, they were like, oh, you should, you go to church. I go, no, I hate church. They never let me go to the bathroom. And I said that for 30 plus years. I said it for like the first 8 years I was with, or 7 years I was with Chelsea.
Yep.
Oh my god.
And so then when we get the calling to start 2017, he's like, oh yeah, you're going to start this podcast. We get the name and all this. I didn't ask Chelsea, but she went out and bought a mic and a camera, and we never set it up at our old place.
Oh.
And she's like, oh, well, you're going to set it up? I'm like, no, they said I can't. And she's like, why? I go, because I don't know enough yet. That's what they told me. I could not start one. So I would just listen to Rob, do my own research, listen to Zen, do my own research, check what they're saying, double check, blah, blah, blah. Did all that stuff. And then not only that, I was learning constitutional law, admiralty law, science. And I was debating people on the Flat Out Truth page on Facebook and other forums. I would just debate people from MIT, Harvard. I'd shred them. Didn't even matter. And they're like, who is this guy? Like, I mean, I don't have a PhD. I would just listen. I was a mailman, so I would just listen to data. And if I hear it, I remember it. So I would just listen to lectures. I'd listen to audiobooks of like the King James Bible, Aramaic. It didn't matter. I just listened and I would just keep going and going. 8 hours a day, man. We estimate I got like 17,000 hours of study.
Whoa,
Because
that's huge.
because my first 2 years, before you become a regular at the post office, they used you up. And so I only got 1 day off a month for 2 years. For
Oh,
2
my
years,
goodness.
working 12-hour days. But that's a lot of data, you know.
Oh yeah.
And then I just remembered that. I was like, all right, well, it's not time. And I would ask too. I was like, oh man, you know. And so it was like a little over 2 years ago, I was like, man, can I start? And they're like, no, you don't know enough, but I'll give you a hint. When your Facebook page hits 10K, you'll be formally launched. And I looked at our Facebook page and I was like, 4,500. It took 6 years. Like, I got another 6 years? Because I was just going to double it in my head. And I was like, man, I told Chelsea and she's like, well, and I go, well, I guess it is what it is. But then we started growing. It was like, started going fast. So it was like he sped it up. And we thought that we were going to do our financial literacy to pay for Flat Out Truth. And so we started doing that. We got the LLC. We started doing, going into that thing. And we get it all set up. Chelsea actually makes this beautiful website because you see all her work. She does really good at techie stuff.
Oh,
So it was
totally.
really nice.
We're so impressed.
Yeah, it was-
My goodness.
Yeah, so we're teaching
you.
people like about credit and all that good stuff. And then what ended up happening is that we got our own cell phone for it and everything. Our phone number will go to my phone. I didn't answer it. Elohim told me not to answer the phone. So we could be making money, but they're like, no, don't answer it. So and Chelsea's was like, I wonder why nobody's calling us or today or something. And I go, yeah, they're not. So they didn't call that day, but they were calling 10 times a day when I was at work. And I was like, why are these people keep bugging me? Why do they keep bugging me?
Oh,
But
my
I don't know why
goodness.
she was like so trusting. She was like, I guess they're just not calling. But she would happen to call, or she actually would happen to ask me that when nobody called yet. I'd be at home a day off. She goes, I wonder why nobody's calling. I'm like, oh, yeah, nobody called today.
Oh
So
my goodness.
it was funny.
Yeah,
And
I
then,
was like, we just don't, we're not, our name's not out there yet. It's fine. We'll get there.
yeah, so then we get pregnant with our second baby. And she says that. And then we're on maternity leave. I took 3 months off. She had 3 months off. And then I told her, you know what? We're going to really put our foot into Paulino Jerome. And I'm start answering the phone. She goes, you weren't answering? I go, no, they told me not to answer. And she goes, I get it now. And I was like, all right. So when we get off, I'm going to start it. And they're like, yeah. And they were backing me. The Elohim's like, yes, this is it. This is it. You're starting something. I'm like, yeah, I'm starting. I'm going to start.
Finally.
Finally. And it was April 20th. And I was at work and I seen a tree truck that said LLC. I said, yeah, we're going to be starting our LLC. He's like, yeah, you're starting out the Flat Out Truth. I'm like, what? I thought I was starting Paulino Jerome. And they're like, no, you're doing Flat Out Truth. I go, when? Right now? And they're like, yeah, right now. So I called Chelsea and I did all the logos and everything. I redid them. And when she found out, when she updated our logo, it was exactly 7 years later from when they told me to get the name. Exactly. To the
Exact
day.
The day.
Wow. That is
Yeah.
cool.
So isn't that crazy? Like we wouldn't have known until she goes, you're not going to believe this. We had just left that church. That's a whole nother story. I'll get back to the church. And then she goes, you're not going to believe it. I was like, what? She goes, it was 7 years to the day that we started the flatouttruth.com
Wow.
and our page and everything.
Yeah.
And we're like,
Number of
wow, you can't
completion.
even, you can't even make it up.
Yeah.
And it was just so interesting. I was like, wow, this is like so crazy. So that happened. And and I'm telling everybody, yeah, we're starting the Flat Out Truth. I was all excited. And about a month in, we're buying a little bit of equipment here and there. And we're like, how are we going to fund this? And so like, you're going to start this out. And we just thought we were doing podcasts. And they're like, you know what you got, you know what you can do. And we know what Chelsea can do. You guys are going to build something really big and powerful. Like you're not going to come out just on your cell phone. No, you're going to do something different. Use the skills that you built in all your years and then use Chelsea as your helpmate. And that's what I've been doing. And like it was like 3 or 4 days after I got on April 20th. So it was like the 23rd or 24th. I was in the shower and I've always wanted to be a singer my whole life. I thought I was going to be a singer between 14 and 20 and it never panned out. You know, I was like, oh man, if I made it big, I could do, get my family out of poverty, start some businesses, bring everybody up. And it never worked out. So I just stuck to my artwork. And I was taking a shower. And I started hearing this music and some lyrics, and they were really cool. And I never had heard them before. I go, that's my stuff. I'm doing that. And I got to get it out because it reminded me of a dream that you have and you try to remember it, but the more you wake up, it kind of just goes away.
Right.
And then I was like, I got to say one word.
You forget it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, I got to get one word out. And I said a couple words and I got half the shampoo out of my hair, got dressed, went upstairs, and Chelsea goes, what's wrong? I go, oh, how does she know something's wrong? I go, what do you mean? She goes, you look confused. And she goes, you never look confused. And I go, you ever had a dream? And she's like, literally, she's like, open up your phone and start writing. And I wrote for about 15 minutes, right, babe?
Yep.
And I look at this page is full, and I give it to her, 37 songs that I wrote in 15
Whoa.
minutes.
Oh my goodness.
And I didn't remember them, Lisa,
No.
not one bit. She read them back to me, and I would cry at some of the lyrics.
Wow.
And I'm like, how did I do this? You know, and I only stopped because I just stopped. I can literally open up my phone and write a song.
You're like
right now.
the scribes in Second Esdras. Have you read about those guys that they just the Most High opened the mouth of Esdras to just speak, and he spoke, I think, for like a week straight or something. I don't know the exact amount of time. And then he had all these scribes ready to write down everything he said, and they just wrote for the entire time. Like they had to stay awake for all that time. But it's very similar. I mean, when he's ready to download into you, he's ready, right?
Yeah, and he even tells me, he goes, just keep going. And and they've actually taught me how to write it. I come up with my title first, and then I come in through all those things. So now I'm more conscious of it, and it still works. It was funny because then that happened, and we're like, how are we going to fund it? Well, we have a friend that we played volleyball with, and I asked Chelsea, I go, hey, Donovan does like loans for like businesses and mortgages, all kinds of loans he does, and he's really good at it. You know, we knew him through volleyball. I hadn't seen him for like a year or two because the C. And but he had been calling me about biblical stuff, and it was just on the right timing. Right. So I call him. I go, I go, Chelsea. I go, babe, do you think we should do it? And she said, yes, call him.
Yeah.
So I called him, and I literally called him. He goes, Paulino, it's funny you're reaching out to me. I've been making so much money for 7-8 years because he was a younger guy. He goes, it's corrupting me because I fly out to Vegas, making 16-20 grand a month, and he would just go and party all the time. And he was, biblically raised, and he's like, I got to get back to God.
Wow.
And he told me straight out, you are going to be my last loan. Wow. I'm like, what? And he started talking about how he wanted to do like chickens, right? And she's laughing.
I am. Chickens for God.
Because it was weird. Chickens for God. Chickens for Jesus. It's crazy, man. You can't make this up. And he goes, you're going to be the last one. And so we were waiting, then it got delayed, and we were trying to get this business loan and all this. And what ended up happening was it got delayed 2 weeks, and we're like, oh man, we don't know what's going to happen. So we're still buying stuff on our own. And XYZ, wow.
Hold on just a second.
These things off, and we'll just work on that budget. And 2 weeks later, he calls me up. Calls us up on a three-way, right, babe?
Yep.
He had never did that before, so it was kind of freaking me out. I'm like, what's going on? And then they're like, just trust the process. And we go, and he's like, oh, yeah, I got some news for you guys. We're like, oh, man, getting delayed again? And he's like, this has never happened to me before. Yep. They want to triple your money.
Whoa.
It was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, he goes, what do you guys think? We're like, yes. He goes, yeah, I already started the paperwork because I knew you were going to say yes. And he got us the loan, and he's doing chickens now.
Yep.
Wow.
And he blames me. He goes, Paul, I blame you. It even says it on his cartons.
It does.
The eggs are for Jesus. Yeah, that's what he
He
said. He goes, I blame you.
on the carton. Oh
yeah, that's what he said.
That's funny.
And so, so he's doing chickens. I mean, they look really good, and he packages them beautiful and everything. And he talks about how you don't wash them and this and that, and they last longer. And so that's cool that he did that. And then it just kept ramping up. Every time we needed somebody, they came in. And, there's always this certain amount of time they might be with us and then leave. Who knows? Right, for a season, short season, long season.
Right.
But it's always happened. And then my cousin, that one that moved away, his sister came to Michigan, and her husband's a big U of M fan. Michigan. I don't know if you know the Wolverines or anything. So he was taking pictures in front of the stadium, and I'm like, I go, wow. And we were on a walk with the kids, and I'm like, hey, I wonder what they're doing here. And then Elohim's like, reach out to her. And I would always try to get confirmation from Chelsea because I didn't really want to do it.
You always ask me.
And I go, hey, my cousin's here. You know, should I reach out? And she's like, yeah, go ahead. I'm like, dang it. So then I reached out, and then they're like, she's like, oh, cuz, man, we're here, blah, blah, blah. You know, you should give me your number. And I'm like, hey, they're like, yes, give it to her. And I'm like, hey, should I give it to her? And Chelsea be like, yeah, you should give it to her. Like, dang it again. And then they're like, hey,
you can't get me for an out.
yeah. And so she called me, and my cousin called me and goes, hey, we're here in Lansing, you know, visiting. Somebody's having a 90th birthday party from the church, and they're at this big park, and they're gonna have barbecue. Come on out. And then Elohim's like, yeah, go. And then I'm like, hey, they want us to go. What do you think? And she's like, yeah, we should probably go. And I'm like, dang it, again. So we pack the kids up and we go. And this is funny. We walk in. I go, yeah, there are going to be a lot of Mexicans, like a lot of Latinos and stuff. And I told Chelsea, because she's Caucasian. And so we go in there. And the first guy I see, I go, there he is. The guy that wouldn't let me go to the bathroom. The deacon is right there, man.
No.
35 years later, man.
Oh my god!
And no joke. So we grab our barbecue. We go sit by my cousin, and they're already done eating because they were there longer. And so we're eating, and her husband sits next to me, and I see this woman start walking up towards me, and she looks right at me. She goes, Simon? I go, no, I'm not Simon. She goes, oh, you're not Annette, which is my cousin. You're not her son. I go, no, he's right there. And she goes, oh, well, who are you? And I go, my name's Paulino. And I went into my last name. And she's like, oh my God, you're Pete's son, which is my dad. And so she goes, in 1974, we were here when the whole church started, and we were all like friends, and we were actually roommates with him and my husband and all this stuff, right? She goes, and what's this flat out truth? We got into that, and I started telling her, well, I got an awakening and all this. And she goes, oh my God, the church has changed so much. You got to meet my husband. It was the dude.
Oh my goodness.
Her husband is actually the preacher now, man.
Oh my goodness.
But he got hit with something in 2012, revamped the church, went more into like, he's not the traditions of man. He's actually did really well. And he came over, started going like that. And I showed him the demo of the song. He goes, you got to come. I'm led to tell you, you have to come back to the church and just check it out. That's it. And so I told Chelsea, I asked Chelsea, should we go? And she was like, yeah. And they redid the nursery and everything for us. Like we went once, the next week it was all redone for us.
Oh, nice.
Because we're the only ones that have little kids. Nice. Yeah, it's crazy. They ran a speaker down there and everything. And it was funny because everything looks bigger when you're little.
Oh, yeah.
So I went back to the church. And I remember this massive church. It wasn't that big.
Yeah.
It's a decent size. But I go, after the end of it, I go, man, you never even asked why I didn't like you. And he hugs me. He goes, you like me now? And he gave me a big hug. And this is after the first day. And I go, you know what? I remember you standing over there by that because it has an archway. I remember you standing there. This one, he wouldn't let me go to the bathroom. Yeah. I remember you standing there in your maroon suit. And then I don't know how I even remember this other man's name. His name's Pasquale. And I got to remember Pasquale. And I didn't even remember his name. It just popped out. Was in a blue suit over there. And then Chelsea taps me with her thing. She goes, what'd you say?
They were wearing our colors. So
Maroon
one of them was in
blue.
a maroon suit and one of them was in a blue suit.
And I didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, you're wearing a
there's your
maroon
colors
and he
on
was wearing
the
blue.
Screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's our main colors. It was just weird. He goes, I still own that suit. That's what he said.
We're like, you're gonna bust it out.
Oh
So he's
my
like in his
gosh.
70s. And then they told me, hey, you let them know when they get rid of the church or something happens that you want to buy it. And I told them, and they said, okay. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this thing.
Nope.
I
Yeah.
have no idea. I'm not even joking. I don't even know why I'm supposed to do that. But I go once in a while. I think 2 times ago, right? I went and I wrote a song on the way
that's
there.
right. Mhm.
Through the sermon, I wrote a song. And at the very end, he did confirmation of that song.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like he's in my head.
He's actually going to be our special guest this coming Thursday.
Yep, Thursday. His name's
Yeah.
Daniel.
Yeah.
We'll
okay.
have to check
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah, we'll have to
But
take
it
a
was,
look.
yeah, it's so like everything's so crazy. So even the music, like we're coming back to that, like, so I got that song, I did my demo, my first one, and they said it's not ready yet. You got to redo it. And so I know that. And we thought that we were supposed to do it. And they're like, no, you got it. So all this other stuff came up, like getting the platform ready, adding more topics. I got 1,500 articles in there.
Wow.
And
1,500, geez.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
My goodness.
And that's just my articles, not Chelsea's. Chelsea has some, like Marcus, one of our big guys there. He's got some in there, and everybody contributes a little bit. Lisa, you put stuff in there.
Right.
And yeah, so it's growing. And then like we have to get all these other little things all set up. I feel like Noah, where like Chelsea had picked January 2nd as our release date, and that she feels the pain from that.
Yep, very much.
And me and Marcus were laughing because like, all right, we'll go with your little date. But like the
That was a
Elohim's
horrible
like,
idea.
yeah,
No.
Elohim's like, no, that's not the date, but just let her go with it because she needs a goal.
I created my own deadline. I'm like, I'm gonna get all this done by this time, and like I guess that technically succeeded. But yeah, for the rest of it, no, horrible. There is nothing.
It was
like
so
it.
funny. It was
My
so funny.
expectations were destroyed.
There's a couple comments in the chat. I want to read you this one from Tammy George. She
Okay.
said, see, that's
yeah, go for
proof
it.
that you shouldn't keep polyester. It never goes away. I think she's talking about the suit. Oh my
That's true.
goodness.
That's funny.
And it catches fire very easily. That's another thing. It's a horrible, sad story, but my roommate from college, her grandma and her grandpa came to visit
Oh, look, it's
to
us.
stay in Waikiki in Hawaii. And
Whoops.
yeah, no, we're not wearing polyester. But
No,
we were
no,
caught
she's
in
a
her
clicker
lip.
of all buttons.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I
don't
know.
worry. You saw me earlier. I saw you guys laughing about it, and I was just like, oh, I forgot.
But
Oh
anyway,
yeah, I have.
oh, no, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I have a mouse. Oh, good. I have a mouse that has 16 buttons on it.
Yeah,
And
can you
so-
believe that?
And
Have you seen
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
I
it
have
literally
seen
has
those.
16
I'm
buttons on
scared
it.
Oh.
to deal with those.
She knows them all.
I do. And
I can barely
sometimes
handle
when
one.
No, I told you she's
That's
a clicker of buttons.
I know I have it, it's for all of my shortcuts. So then all of our scenes for him, me, us, you guys, like get our guests and things like that. And sometimes I accidentally click a number, which triggers the button. And so then our scene changes. I'm like, oh, shoot.
And then sometimes I
my
go,
gosh.
I
stop
totally understand.
clicking so fast sometimes. I have to go, stop clicking.
Yeah, I'm a little too trigger happy.
Because I have to
Oh
go
my
like, I have to be
gosh.
careful when I say, hey, should we do this? She'll go click. I go, no, not now.
Not
I
yet.
mean, should we? But she's already clicking, man. Click,
Oh,
click,
I
click, click, click.
know.
Well, one of the
It's
things
like 4
that I
clicks
noticed,
behind.
one of the things I noticed from your page that I think that you guys are pretty interested. We talked a little bit about this. I don't think too much, but when we were on your show, this is part of the show that I think a lot of people missed because you made it private or something so we could say all the code word, not have to say the code
Yes.
words. But after we come back from break, if you guys are up to it, I would like to talk with you guys about the old world and what you guys have researched about that. Does that sound pretty good? You know, like
Sure.
the
Yeah.
buildings, what the giants might have left behind.
Oh, yeah,
I've
for
seen,
sure.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen that on your page. So do you mind doing a short break?
Sure.
Okay, we're
Oh,
gonna
no.
do it. We're gonna
Oh,
do
perfect timing.
a quick 5-minute
No,
break.
this is perfect.
Isaac will put on some music, and then we'll see you guys in about 5 minutes. Okay?
Okay.
Okay,
right.
cool.
It's going to take a little bit. You might want to keep talking.
Oh, okay.
No, okay.
It's
So,
gonna take a little
15,
bit.
YouTube has a 15-second delay.
hey, you know what? I was looking at we got this fly in here, and I would like to get him in 5 minutes. But he's very elusive.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you guys for a sec. Isaac said it's gonna take a minute for YouTube
Yeah.
to catch up to this, so
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah.
can just talk a little
Yeah.
bit here.
Yeah.
I was gonna finish the story real quick.
2,
Oh, 3, 2, 1. Here we go into break. See you guys in a bit. One of my dreams when I was a child was to work with orphans, as I had read about others doing in the Bible. However, caring for orphans is very difficult, and there's so many challenges for the child and the adult. It was clear to me that the Most High had his hand on Isaac from a young age. The enemy had tried to kill Isaac even before he was born, and numerous times during his young life. I began writing this book in 2011 after we had gone through the most miraculous and most stressful time. This book is inspiring because of Isaac's experiences and how the Most High really brought him through so much from the time of his birth up until today. To purchase, go to sacredwordpublishing.com bookstore.
ספק שטפוני, החזק בי שלא אטבע, מילים משתיקות עשה, מילים מביאות תקווה, דבר אל ליבי ישוע, אתה בקרבי שלווה. בצל כנפך נקלט לנפשי נחם אמחה דמעותיי בך מילים מרפאות הצעה מילים של חמלה ברחוב דבר אל ליבי ישוע בקרבתך שלום. דבר אל ליבי ישוע דבר אלוהים אשמה את מילתך שיש בי עצב אותי לדמותך מילים של גבורה והכוח מילים של עידוד והעוז דבר אל ליבי ישוע ברכה לי עוזר דבר אל ליבי ישוע בקול של דממה דקה חקור נא ליבי עזרני ללמוד לציית לך באהבתך לשמוח מול חסד להיכנע דבר אל ליבי ישוע למדני ברחמך באהבתך לשמוח מול חסד להיכנע דבר
right. We are back. Are you guys okay? You guys did your things you got to do? Oh, they're not on yet. Okay.
Hang up.
Okay. We are back. Great to see you guys come back here. Chelsea and Paulino, we have the Flat Out Truth with us today. If you guys missed the first hour, you should go back and take a look at that as soon as we're done with the show. We got a nice introduction from them. They described how they set up their ministry, how they were led by the Most High, for the name, for the timing. It was an amazing introduction, how they awoke to our true cosmology. I noticed if you go to their webpage, they have pretty much every topic, truth-based topic you could think of on there. But I was particularly drawn to the page that covers like Tartarian architecture, the old world, how everything was giant before the flood, you know, including the giants, you know. But when Isaac comes back, I have a picture I want to put up. But when we were on you guys' show, a lot of people missed this part because we weren't broadcasting on YouTube at this time. But I put up some pictures of what they call volcanic craters here in Hawaii, and for you guys to see, Paulino and Chelsea, when we did the show with you guys. And I have one I wanted to share with everyone, but maybe you could share a little bit about, to get us started here, what are your thoughts about the old world? How did you start researching that? Where did you, like what particular YouTube channels or pages or whatever did you come across that really helped to awaken you to like Tartarian architecture, the giants, or, you know, kind of along those lines?
Well, I mean, once you find out like the FE, and then you go, oh yeah, FE makes sense. What else have they lied to us about or changed history for? You start to like just notice stuff like, how did they build this? I mean, we know about the pyramids. They come up with this big thing about how they didn't do the pyramids or whatnot. But then you start thinking of like other stuff, like the world fairs. I was really always fascinated with world fairs. And I'm like, how did they do this? And then they're doing horse and buggy in the wild, wild west. It didn't make sense. And then I always noticed that, yeah, they don't match. And then I was like, wow, but then how do they do this other thing and then do this thing? And it just, none of the things looked like it matched. The dates didn't match. Timelines didn't match. And then I even went into like the what do they call them? Mental institutions or insane asylums.
Yeah, the insane
Those things
asylums.
they were so big.
Yeah.
They looked like universities, and they were everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Everywhere. And the architecture was beautiful.
Yes.
So, and then, you know, now you start fast forwarding, and then you start hearing them, like it starts clicking in your head that they always say they founded it. They found it.
Right.
They don't say they built it, or they don't say established, or they'll say established, but they don't say they actually built it. They always say they founded it or it was established.
Right.
So that's really like you just found it, and then you just took it over.
Remodeled.
And
they were really good at remodeling getting their free masonry to remodel.
Yeah, and that's really what I mean. Like, there's a guy on TikTok that did a video about he asked AI how long it would take for them to do Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And for horse and carriage and all this stuff, it would take them 7 years, and it was something like 3.8 million horse hours,
Jeez.
right? And that's if it was 7 miles away,
Wow.
because there was no train tracks near them. It would take them 7 years, 24 hours a day, just to get the stuff there.
Wow.
Just
Not even to build it.
Not to
Not
build
even
it,
to build
just to
it.
get the. No, and they said they built it in like 11 months.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Isn't that crazy?
that is nuts. When we were reading the Legends of the Jews, you know, previous to our class starting, one of the parts in here really caught my attention. Okay, this is on page 259 for those of you who still have your Legends of the Jews book nearby. It's about the spies, but definitely, especially by what the Canaanites thought they came there to do. Did you guys catch that? What the Canaanites thought the spies came there to do? It said that if they entered a city, however, they were not to slink like thieves in alleyways, but to show themselves in public and answer those who asked what they wanted by saying, "We came only to buy some pomegranates and grapes." They were emphatically to deny they had any intention of destroying the idols or felling the sacred trees. All right, so that led me to realize, you know, we talked a little bit about this when you guys were on our show, but I wanted to show everybody. Isaac can put up this amazing visual of
Don't look at my head.
they call it Diamond Head Crater. We can see this from the beach that's closest to our house, just like 10 minutes away. And this actually is 25 miles away from the beach that's closest to our house, and you can clearly see it. Like they think this is a volcanic crater. Now, does a volcanic crater have the ability to grow like extremely green grass and tons of trees on the side of it and on the inside of it? And to me, it does not look like your typical depiction of a volcanic crater, like the ones that you see in like Indonesia or in Bali. I mean, I've seen even on other islands. On the big island of Hawaii, they have like the most famous volcanoes there, and some of them are still going off. Kilauea, Mauna Loa, I believe those are the most recent. They said that this is an extinct volcano, but to me, there's no way this could be a volcano. There's no evidence of lava flowing into the ocean. It's surrounded by sand. Again, this is called Diamond Head. And if you look on the sides, I believe that this would have been one of those massive trees that it's talked about in the Book of Giants, that the giants cut down before the flood. And there's several of these just on our island that look very similar to this. If you guys can see this, they call this Diamond Head. There's also another one nearby. And inside there's like a national park. You can hike up to the rim of the crater. In fact, the military used this as an outpost and supposedly saw the planes that were flying over from Japan to bomb Pearl Harbor. There's also another one called Punchbowl Crater that looks almost exactly like this one, not even 10 miles away, kind of in the middle of Honolulu. And you can see all the houses and everything all around it. This is Honolulu area. And then about 10 miles away, there's Punchbowl Crater. Looks very similar to this, but that one is known as the National Cemetery of the Pacific. And it's only if you're active duty military or their families are allowed to be buried in there. They made it a gigantic cemetery. And then there's another one kind of close to us called Makakilo Crater. It looks very similar to this, but it's really dry because I think that they steered all of the water away from our side of the island into other areas that more of the elite tend to occupy. That's my opinion. And there's another one just down the coast from this one called Koko Head Crater, and Hanauma Bay. And Hanauma Bay is one of the most famous snorkeling places here in the islands. It's like a whole fish sanctuary, and it looks just like this, except for part of this is caved in on the ocean side, and the ocean comes right in. And there's no evidence of lava in any of these locations. In fact, the soil on the inside of these, I've been in this Diamond Head one many times. You can see there's like a tourist center there. There's parking area. You have to go through a tunnel to actually get in there. And then I've even taken like my kindergarten class before hiking up this thing, because it's super easy hike. It's mostly sidewalks the entire way. But anyway, I just wanted to see what you guys thought of this, and if you agree with me that this looks more like an ancient tree trunk. What are you guys' thoughts?
That's funny.
It actually looks like the one that's in our front yard that we got stuff growing out of now. We put flowers and vines in it, right?
Yeah.
It looks really sweet though.
It does. It's actually really funny because I had told you guys this on when you were on the Flat Out Truth, is I saw Diamond Head in person, but this this is high school, so like I didn't pay attention.
No, I didn't either,
to be quite honest.
Years. No, for the past 40
but
years,
I had no clue. Yeah, and I've also been snorkeling in Hanauma Bay.
Wow.
So I in hindsight, I'm like, dang, I wish I would have paid more attention. But yeah, because we were discussing, it's like either some of these look, like you said, are they tree trunks? Because I've also been able to travel to the Grand Canyon and Arizona area. I did some mission trips out there when I was still going to Lutheran Church. And so seeing all those plateaus and things like that, again, it's like, are you really seeing them for what they are or what someone tells you they are, right? And then the next one was, the 200 craters that you can find around the world, right?
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
the fallen angel ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great.
Very
exactly.
interesting.
Oh yeah, and Kaylee is in the chat. She grew up on the Big Island of Hawaii, my daughter-in-law, and she said that there are 5 volcanoes, and none of them look that circular. Like this, there's no, I don't know any other explanation for this except this is a tree trunk, like a massive, gigantic tree trunk, which would explain, why plants grow so well on it. You can see the color of the green on the inside of that. If you remember when Isaac put that up, it's just like, now that I know, and I agree with you, Chelsea. Like I grew up seeing this all the time, even after I graduated from college, taking my students on field trips all the time. This is like a huge field trip center for students in public schools here on the island, well, private schools too. But yeah, and even like Punch Bowl, the other craters I named too, a lot of them are UNESCO World Heritage Sites. To me, that's like a huge red flag that either there's something that the UN is trying to hide because it's owned by the royals, basically overseen by the UN, or either they're trying to hide something or they're trying to divert your attention from something else that's in that area. But we do have ancient architecture here, like the Tartarian architecture you talk about. Even our state capital, well, not the capital, but the former residence of the royal family, they call it Iolani Palace. And this palace is very suspect Tartarian architecture. I mean, you see the halfway buried windows. Why would anyone build windows and half of it is buried in the ground? They didn't even have that technology to be able to dig it. They didn't have backhoes or anything back in the 1800s to be able to dig a basement even, unless they did it by hand. I don't know. But then the huge stone architecture is everywhere. You guys have more of that, I'm sure, in Michigan than we have here. Like in Detroit itself, like you talked about the Yankee Stadium, do they have other buildings that you see with like new eyes now?
Well, yeah, they even say the train station that's in Detroit.
Yep.
They say that one's Tartarian. And when you do like the research for the tunnels that are under the ground, the first ones were discovered under Lake Michigan from Chicago. Wow. And there's thousands and thousands of miles. But when you do the research, they word stuff weird. It's like when they uncovered or undug it, like, it's like, it reminds me of something like it was a cave, they filled it in, now they're pulling it all out, like the rubble. So it doesn't sound like they built it or dug it. It's like they excavated it.
Right.
And there's actually railroad systems in there. And they said they did it to run the conduit for telephone. But these were discovered or done 30 years before the invention of the phone. So, and they weren't allowed to run the cables through the manholes. They said they weren't allowed to do that. But then how did they get the rails in there?
The math is.
I mean, it's easier. Yeah. So it's very interesting. You were talking about the trees. You ever seen Close Encounter of the Third Kind, that Devil's Tower?
I have driven by that before. Have you ever? I've driven by that thing in person, and the first time I drove past it, we're Midwest. You're in the middle of just this flat South Dakota, the eastern South Dakota, and then all of a sudden, as you get closer, you see this massive thing rising up. It's right near the freeway too, just like rising up out of on the horizon. I'm like, what is that? And then they try to explain it away that it's a volcanic, and I'm like, volcanic? That is not. What is that? There's no way that's a volcano. I mean, it doesn't look like it one bit. Yeah, Isaac's pulling a picture of it. That to me,
there you
go. Oh, you got it up there. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Chelsea.
As best as I can.
You got the tech thing going on there. Yeah, no, definitely. It's just it's huge. Have you guys seen that in person, or you seen the pictures?
No.
It's huge.
Look at that.
It's just, yeah, and then if you follow, have you ever heard of Mud Fossil University? Roger, he's a guy that presents on there. His theory on that, because he's done some. I don't know, he's taken some samples from there, or people have sent him samples, and he's looked at that. He thinks it's like an ancient giant's leg, the way it's formed, and that the giant got cut off at the leg or something, and it's there still in the ground. He said, you could see part of the foot. I mean, in my opinion, it looks more like a tree trunk, but that's Roger. He's got, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but yeah, that's definitely a good example.
Because you heard about like the Himalayan pink salt. They're saying that that's like blood from a giant, or yeah, definitely. And also, that's what they're saying.
Well, the Dead Sea itself. Have you guys been to Israel? I don't know if I asked you that.
No, we have not.
Well, we've been there a couple times, and the first time we went, it was on a 6-week tour with one of Noble's Hebrew professors, who was actually Jewish, raised in Israel, born in the Ukraine, ironically. But older guy, Professor Fruchtenbaum, yeah, he grew up he lived in like one of the camps that they had first when people migrated from all these other European countries to Israel, after the Rothschilds took it over. And then he was telling us, now I'm trying to remember where I was going with this. Oh, the Dead Sea. So we went and saw the Dead Sea while we were there. We actually stayed in a hotel right on the Dead Sea. And they gave us they give you like these huge packs of mud in your hotel room. You can cover yourself with all this mud, and you see all these people walking around just covered in mud, and you leave it on there till it dries, and then you go and you swim in the Dead Sea to wash it off. But they give you all these very extreme instructions because it's so salty. The content of it's so thick. The water is just thick with this salt, and it's warm. It feels like this massive hot tub lake. I mean, it's very comfortable. You're not supposed to rub your eyes because it'll just burn. You have to get out of the water like every 15 minutes and take a shower in regular water, or else you'll start burning your skin. It's so intense.
Wow.
But there's some theories as to why that thing is so salty, because underneath there, that used to be Sodom and Gomorrah, which was inhabited by huge amounts of giants, the Canaanite giants. That was like their main hub after Babylon, after the flood, of course. And with that amount of giants living there, and when that thing was rained on fire and brimstone, a lot of those, I'm sure, all the people died except for Lot and his 2 daughters, right? So that would be the remains of all these people and their carcasses. Slowly, the Jordan River started flowing into that area because it's the lowest spot on Earth. It's 500 meters below sea level, which is the lowest spot on Earth. And I think that's from all the fire and brimstone. So actually, we were like soaking in probably Nephilim remains and their salt from their bodies, which is just gross now that I think about it. But it was an interesting experience.
I was like, how does that make you feel now?
I know. Isaac went in there too, right?
Yeah, I remember floating.
Isaac went in there too, yeah. It was just, yeah, I thought it was wonderful at the time. I don't feel too great about it right now, though. But yeah.
Now, have you heard about like America being the original? They could be like the Nile River and all that stuff. That's pretty interesting too.
I've studied
they have a lot
as
of things that are, yeah. So like that's what I'm kind of like. I just dabbled in a little bit. It's very interesting.
I think
that it could be because we're already in the north.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Zen to bring out. He's redoing it, right? Or he's rewriting it, or
he's revamping his book about that. Is that?
Yeah, or he's bringing it out or something.
Well, there is a book that he recommends, and it's called Joseph's Keys or something like that, and it talks about how Joseph had access from Egypt, underground tunnels, to what we call the Grand Canyon today. And so that's why it looks so similar. It's the same structures as in Egypt. You can see sphinxes there and their idols and huge, you look at the Grand Canyon, you can tell it's like melted buildings. There's no other explanation for all that. And they even name it Egyptian names, like they got Isis something, and they have the Sphinx. And so I think that's a pretty good explanation. And also too, Egypt, if you look at how the earth was divided in the Book of Jubilees, after the flood, it was divided among Noah's 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And Ham got all the hot lands. So basically everything that was south of the equator, so like southern Latin America, South America, and so I think that the division line is close to what we would call the Mason-Dixon line today in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And so Arizona would be part of Ham's land, while the north part of North America and Canada would have been Japheth's land. And so because Egypt was in Africa was also Ham's land, it would have been maybe similar builders that did what was in Egypt as heavily populated by fallen angel offspring, the giants in Egypt, as well as they could utilize that tunnel to get to the Grand Canyon area to build some very similar structures. And to me, it's like, even if they were giants, I don't know anyone who's like of royal blood that loves to do laborious work, but they do have the tech skills. And we've seen it even in Star Wars. I'm trying to think of the latest Star Wars episodes, not the movies, but it was like
Andor?
the ones, no, not that one, not that latest one, from several
like
years
the
ago.
movie?
No, it was like a series where it shows out of their spaceship, and they see these robots going around building huge structures, and every robot, there's hundreds of these robots, and they're lifting these gigantic stones, and they're building it all on top of each other. So that made me think, maybe that's how they did it, because they used the Hebrews, we know, in Egypt, but I'm wondering how they did all these other massive structures worldwide and have them look so similar and be so exact. I think that AI was somehow involved. What do you guys think?
I mean, yeah, AI could have been, but this is another interesting way too. Is like, how do we know where anything really is?
It's true.
If they lied about history, they can lie about the mapping, they can lie about where the lands are. What happens if the Elohim, the Yahweh, brings us back to a spot that is the true whatever,
Yeah,
the true Israel? It could be in Mexico. I don't know.
it's true.
You see what I mean? We only name things what we name them based on what maps are, and then
Right.
we're going by the land of what we know now. Like, oh, this matches that,
Right.
but did it match it 2,000 years ago? Or like I think that they hit a thousand years from us.
I agree with
I mean,
that.
there's
I agree
so
with
like
that.
we don't know what. That's why is there stuff in the U.S. and it's over there? It's
Yeah.
more confusion.
Mhm.
It really is more confusion. So either some saying, "Oh, now America's the real Nile and Egypt, and those other one's a fake one," or that one's the fake one, or maybe there's a whole third one we don't even know about yet.
That's true. There's true.
I
'Cause
mean,
there are pyramids in the U.S. They just don't call them pyramids. They call them mountains. Like
Yeah.
Isaac's got one right
Yes.
in his backyard. Actually, he's got a massive
Wow.
pyramid that people hike up to, and there's like a little military pillbox thing up there you can stop at. You guys never did that, right? Yeah.
We never hiked it.
Okay, but it's like right
Yeah.
out his window. There's a huge pyramid. It's all over the place
And-
here too.
yeah, because there's the one in China that's still covered up. There's like a couple in China,
Yeah.
and there's a whole row of them in China,
Right.
and there's one in Mexico too.
Right. Oh,
That's
there's a
still
couple
covered
of
up,
gigantic
yeah.
ones. Yeah. I can't even think
Yeah.
what it's called. It starts with a T.
Well, I have a theory about how all of the tech got into these different places and structures and everything, and I think it has to do with the ancient portals. So
Ah, that's a possibility
Hmm.
too. Yeah, I think there's probably layers from what I've researched. Also, like what was built before the flood, because you could see watermarks on a lot of these structures.
very true.
Yep.
What was built before the flood by the fallen angels and their slaves, I guess you could call it, or their high AI tech, or whatever you wanted to say, built it. And then what was built after the flood, like on top of these other structures. Because we have mountains here that look like melted buildings. I mean, like there's some that you can't explain it any other way. And that's mountain. We call those mountains today. So think how massive the people, or especially the giants, must have been to have those. And then they have the what we call the Tartarian structures, like Iolani Palace, Punahou, Bishop Museum, those huge stone structures, probably the train station in Detroit.
I mean, if we really describe the giants as big as they were, I mean, I'm sure it would be no problem for them to cross from, like, say, Hawaii to the west coast of America
Right.
in probably like a day.
And then
so
and before the flood, there was no oceans too. So it's not
Yeah,
like they had
there's
to
less
go through
water, yeah.
water. Yeah.
there was less water.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, and then we're going to see that in the end times also, when it talks about 1/3 of the oceans or 1/3 of the waters will disappear. So I think we'll be able to see a lot of what's hidden under those oceans pretty soon.
I mean, scientists and like divers have discovered like whole civilizations under the water. So, I mean, there's
Yeah,
like
that's right.
literally
Oh, yeah.
structures of like buildings and pyramids underwater, and it's like, what? How did these things get there to begin with? Oh, wait, the flood. It makes sense now.
like off the
So-
coast
Yeah,
of Japan,
on-
Even in the
Okinawa.
Great Lakes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, even
yeah.
in the Great Lakes.
Yep, we got some of the Great Lakes.
Yeah, so like this is what's interesting too is like we all know that biblically they say that we don't age as long now, right? 120 years, 80 years, right? So have you noticed that we're getting closer and closer to the sun and moon? And so I think that's how he aged us as we moved up, where things are more powerful. You get you're not living as long because you're getting closer. The giants lived lower at a lower level.
Right.
The
right.
oxygen was different, the pressure was different, and they've done experiments where if you control the pressure and increase the oxygen, you can grow these giant vegetables and things
Right.
in
that's
these
true.
chambers.
That's
So if we're
true.
lower and had more pressure, had more oxygen, and it was cleaner, things would get bigger. So he knows that. He's the one that built this. I keep flooding it. They have to keep moving up and up and up, and their life will be shortened.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
And
I
we
never- Oh, go ahead, Paulina.
And like a fish, we grow to the tank size, right? And by pressure, you ever get a fish? Like I used to do a lot of fish. Like the bigger the tank, the bigger the fish. And so as he's making us go higher, the dome is closer, our environment's smaller. Not only we go down in age, right, but we go down in size.
Oh, that's a cool thing to think about, Paulino. I wanted to read a couple of these comments in the chat. If people are wanting to comment on what we're saying here. Tammy said, check out the YouTube channel, My Lunch Break. I love that YouTube channel, by the way, Tammy. Thank you for that. Let's see. Patrick says his great-grandma was full-blooded Cherokee, and she told him that history is a lie, and we are the true Israelites. I agree with that, especially Native American, Mexican, Filipino, like those type of cultures. Like I believe that to me, those are people, like Paulino, like
Descendants
Isaac,
of Abraham.
like Noble, like Kaylee. That was probably more of what the Israelites look like. The Cherokee actually practiced Torah. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. I should get out this book. It's called He Walked the Americas, and also this is what the
Oh yeah,
old
that
ones
was the book
say.
I was thinking about.
Yeah, have you seen that? That's what the old ones say by Joseph Riverwind. That's a really good book. Zen recommended that to me, and it talks about the Cherokee, how they practiced Torah. They had visitations from Yeshua himself. I mean, it's amazing. When they were in America, it's awesome. I just want to say, Monkulis had something I wanted to read his. Oh yeah, that there's possibly no rain too. There's no rain mentioned before the flood when the windows of heaven were opened, and also the water volcanoes came up from underneath, bringing the hot water while the rain was raining down the cold water, and that whole mix was just to like boil everybody, especially the giants. I think that those were angering the Most High there before the flood. And
I could understand why rain would be necessary after the flood too, because like he was mentioning, we're getting closer to the sun and the moon. Right. So the plants would wither quickly, a lot more quickly, so they would require more water. So
Yes.
Right. That makes sense. You guys have anything else you want to share about the old world? I'm still looking in the chat to see if anybody else has questions or. Oh yeah, Cabbage Patch Kids. Have you guys?
Oh no.
Have you guys watched?
Yes.
No.
Have you guys watched Mind Unveiled? I love Mind Unveiled. Isaac hates the Cabbage Patch.
My sister
Because
had one.
I'm adopted.
I can't stand the Cabbage Patch Kids. Isaac's adopted, so he has a personal issue with the Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yes, 100%.
No, but I explained it
That's
to
funny.
Isaac what happened. I think I even had you watch part of one of the Mind Unveiled videos about those Cabbage
Yeah,
Patch.
I did
Creepy.
watch it, yeah.
You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the Cabbage Patch Kids? Chelsea had
I mean,
one.
everything.
I didn't have one.
No, my sister had one.
Oh,
I
your
didn't have
sister
one.
had one. Sorry.
My sister had one. Yeah, I was not quite girly enough to have a Cabbage Patch doll.
We weren't wealthy enough to have a Cabbage Patch doll.
You probably made your own. Huh?
I know I could have sewn my own, but I didn't
Potatoes.
choose to.
That's
Yeah.
where Miss Potato Head came from.
What did you guys? To me, that made a lot of sense just because I think I put this on your webpage and some pictures that my grandma was on the orphan trains. And my great-grandma told the entire story of how her and my great-grandpa were not able to have children. They were kind of a well-off family that lived in Nebraska, Lutheran, of course. And he was a piano tuner, so he worked very closely with all the churches in the area. And they got a notice. I'm not sure if it was in the mail or people were passing out these flyers saying, come and get your free baby or adopt your free child at the train station like half an hour away from their house. And so they got in their old car, they drove to the train station. My great-grandma's telling this. My great-grandma said she prayed and she wanted a girl with brown eyes, and they wanted a little boy with blue eyes so he looked like my great-grandpa. And they basically went in there. There's hundreds of babies in all those bassinets. There's some older children too, just sitting on the side, just waiting. And then all these couples would come in and just like, okay, I want that one. And they just would sign the birth certificate. No background check, nothing. It's nothing like adoption today. Like Isaac's adoption took 3 years? This took 15 minutes. You just go in, choose your baby, leave with your baby, get your baby's birth certificate, send you home. So that's what happened with my grandma. And so I think the Cabbage Patch Kids was to mock that event, because that happened all over the Midwest. I think they were trying to help give more children supposedly to help the farmers out in that area, and it would be just more hands around the farm. but where did all these babies and children come from is the huge question, because my
Yeah.
grandma never tried to find her. She's like, I don't even want to find these people that
Genealogy,
gave me
yeah.
up. But my auntie looked into it, and it ends. There's no genealogy. There's no people that she could find that, you know, were related to my grandma. So the Cabbage Patch Kids, just for those of you guys who don't know, you can watch entire videos on this on Mind Unveiled channel on YouTube. But it's just kind of to mock everything, because they'd combine the DNA totally, and they created all of these babies from different types of DNA. I believe a lot of them came from France, just because that's where all these creepy postcards are with these babies' heads inside cabbage plants. That's why the name Cabbage Patch Kids came about, and I think it's just to mock it, because this is back in the 30s and 40s, probably even early. I think even earlier than that, in the early 1900s, around the time of the World's Fairs, when everything was just new in the USA,
Right.
a fairly new nation, just a couple hundred years old, and they needed to populate it. So they thought, okay, we need a nation of workers. We can't get enough people to move and relocate. We have to cause all of these crisis events all over Europe to get people to move to this land that nobody else lives at. So let's just create a whole bunch of babies, and then that's a great way to populate it. And that's the Cabbage Patch Kids. So that's my spin on that.
Yeah,
I also
yeah,
have
like
a
from
theory. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I have
You
a
want me to go?
theory that a
You go
lot of
first.
them were probably left behind sacrifices.
Possibly. That would make sense. Paulino, sorry, what were you going to say?
Well, if you want to erase history, you get rid of the parents and grandparents. So what you do is all these people, that's where the orphans come from, right? So you make all these asylums that we were speaking about before, you fill them up with
Right.
all the crazy people, take their children, and now they're orphans.
True.
That's why there were
It's true.
so many of these asylums all over the world. They were huge. Where did all these crazy people come from? And then they didn't have children. So why don't you just call them crazy, take their children, put them on there, and now you have your population. And they don't know the history because they don't have their parents or grandparents anymore.
Right.
That's what you do is you take over that a society by getting rid of the men and women that are older, especially the men, because they won't
That's
fight
true.
back.
Yeah.
Now you just indoctrinate the children. They have their only history is what you give them now. That's it.
Right.
Yep.
And the ones that know the true history, what we call the Native Americans, you know, the ones the darker skinned people that were already there when they started, colonizing everything. The way you get rid of them is kill as many off as you can, and then have them just stay in one little location. They said, okay, we're going to take all of your land, but you can have the worst parts of it. We'll call them reservations. You guys all go live there. It's just so unfair and so evil, because the people who colonized the U.S., there are leaders today. Their descendants, the royals, there are leaders today. It's really disgusting. But that was also brings me back to, you wanted to talk about the World's Fairs.
I would say really quickly before you
No,
go
please
on
go.
the World Fairs.
No, please.
I was just
go.
gonna show you guys just really quick is let me go here just so you can kind of get a sneak peek. This is our private platform. So you can see we're actually on there too, but this I just did a quick search like you said, Lisa, for something that you posted. So Paulino had originally posted something like you said about the orphan trains. And you had commented saying, that your grandma was on the orphan trains along with her adopted brother. So just so people can kind of get a sense of what it is. So we have posts and articles and things like in this case, we had discussing the orphan trains. This is one of Paulino's articles and everybody can comment and have that discussion. So this one's
thank you.
actually, this one's in conspiracy, but just showing people some of the topics that we have, we do news, and we have a free version and we have a premium version. So you're free, you get the news, you get Just Because, you get our curiosity and things like that. So you have general discussions. And then the premium one has all of these topics that you can go into massive detail on, from, like I said, society, financial, do it yourself, health. I know you guys talk a lot about health, especially with your linens and the I always want to call them RFIDs, the EMF blockers.
Oh,
I don't know why.
What is
The
RFID?
EMF blockers.
What does that mean?
It's the wallets that they block from like scanning. I always call it RFID.
Okay. I had no idea.
I always mess it up.
No, I thought you were
But-
making a new title for our product. I have no idea what that was.
It's just the wallets that are like, oh, you can't scan your stuff. It's like, no, they're EMF blockers. Food, government, science, like you said, like for the orphan trains, it's in our conspiracy. But so people can kind of get a sense of what
and
is
our
included.
calendar's in the biblical
Oh yeah,
text.
yep. Oh yeah, we have our calendar in the biblical text. So I'll show you this really quickly.
No, nice. Thank you for
And
sharing that. I'm so glad
Paulino-
you did that.
Yeah, so Paulino does all the art. And so I wanted to get everybody. And if you do the free version, you can come in. This is where you're going to go first for curiosity. And you can see we have the event broadcast.
Oh yeah,
so
that's the event for us right
that's
there.
the event for you guys.
All right.
So,
There
but
we
I want to
go.
share. So
So-
exactly the discussions that we're having here, you can continue those.
Yeah, so in all those topics, there's 1,500, like I said,
Yeah.
articles that I've written and all that cover in all those things.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah.
So there's
that's
a lot- there's a lot of
that's
content.
time. My goodness. Yeah, that's amazing.
I
Thank
guess
you.
all that studying you did, Paulino, paid off. Huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And I
Yeah,
never stop
definitely.
learning. You know what I
did the
mean?
conspiracy one.
Yeah,
We're,
you could-
we're
you could go-
always learning.
You could go back to your school where your teachers had you just draw or do art or something all the time and actually teach a lot of them some lessons about all this stuff. My goodness, things that they're not taught in college, that's for sure.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
because you don't ask questions, you just parrot, right? That's how you get good grades.
Yep.
Yep.
Memorize and parrot and memorize again and parrot. Yep. And then
Yeah.
Yep.
and then if you're like
That was a
me,
good parrot.
you think that you're yeah, it was a great parrot.
I was horrible.
It was not.
Me too.
He was horrible too.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Not a good parent.
If you're
Oh,
a good
yeah,
parrot like
me too.
myself, then you want to go back and work at the actual school so you feel like you never left. But I'm not
Yeah,
there
it's
anymore. Thank God.
crazy.
Anyway.
Some people are just easily indoctrinated. That's all it is.
He definitely was not. He was like now I'm very proud of him, but when I was still working I was school counselor at the same school he was at one point, it was very embarrassing. I'll just say that much. And now I'm proud of him, don't get me wrong. It's just at that point in time to have I'm the school counselor, I'm like an admin at the school, and to always have like Isaac's teacher having me on speed dial in my office, come get your kid. Your kid's doing this. Oh my gosh, your kid's in timeout now. Oh my goch, your kid stole this and this. And I was just like, oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing.
I
But
was a true PK.
No, I'm proud of him. I am very proud of who he's become, though, because I'd much rather have a child like this than a heavily indoctrinated one that it's hard to pull out. Like, I hate to say this, but like my daughter. My daughter was the opposite end of the spectrum, Miss Valedictorian, the whole 9 yards. And then Isaac, not into school, but definitely his heart was open to the Most High. So I really appreciate that about him. Okay,
Yeah, that's cool.
World's Fairs. I wanted to talk about that a bit. Did you guys want to start out? Do you want me to start out a little bit of what I know and you can
Got
share?
about 15 minutes.
We got 15 minutes, guys. Paulino,
Okay.
I'm sure you've done articles on these.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting that the World's Fairs, how fast they say they go up and how intricate they are, and then they destroy them afterwards. Like the Chicago one, the St. Louis one's very, very interesting because that's even in a movie, one of those old black and whites, and they're talking about it and they're showing it. So it's really interesting that they say they put these up so quick, and then they just destroy them to cover it up. Like, why wouldn't you just leave them anyway? Like, why would you put up all these things and just destroy them? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And
Oh, totally.
the technology and yeah.
Yeah, and then they have pictures of these people coming to see. I think everyone was almost forced to go to see the World's Fair because that's where they introduced the so-called American diet, which is horrible for you, by the way. They like forced people to go
Yeah.
in their horse and buggy, forced people to go to the World's Fairs, and then it was kind of just like, all right, we're going to lead you on a tour through all of these old buildings, and then you're going to try all of this food that you've never seen in your life before. Like, here is a hot dog. Here is cotton candy. Here is a Coca-Cola. This is the things that you eat in America.
So it sounds more like they just kind of set up these like fairs in order to push their own propaganda and then just made it disappear.
Well, they didn't even have to set them up. There were these beautiful white cities that they'd probably stripped of all the gold and whatever else they were decorated before. Like Shilaga, for one example, Chicago today. They used to call it Shilaga. It was a major harbor. This is even before the Great Lakes. They're not even on these ancient maps. There was like a river leading into Shilaga. And it wasn't, enclosed by land.
Right.
And you'd see these beautiful white columns and this water and just massive buildings and everything. But like Paulina was talking about in St. Louis, they didn't have to set anything up. They came and just slapped on these really cheap posters on these really gorgeous buildings that said, you know, come and try ice cream. This is the American diet. Come and try a hot dog, you know, or else they put a sign saying this is the arts and sciences building when it was this probably a castle or something before. And then, or the glass, they had like all glass buildings. I think that was one of the ones in, I'm not sure if it was, no, in Minneapolis, St. Paul. They actually kept that one up for quite a while. That was like a butterfly pavilion, but they called it the Glass House or something.
Reminds me of Willy Wonka.
Yeah, something like that, the glass elevator. But then after everybody had toured around the world's fairs, then they put explosives. They destroyed most of the buildings, but some of them are still left. Like you could see these old buildings. Like I'm sure you guys have in Detroit some of the older buildings that were left over. Or the red brick, that was one of the major things they used to put underneath all of they'd cover it with plaster, like this white plaster. But then when you look at the remains of the melted buildings, there's always like this red brick kind of stuff flowing through, or flowing out where the thing expanded when they put the explosives on it. So that's why like certain buildings, like even in here in Hawaii, like Iolani Palace still stood.
Right, it was still pink.
It's
like pink.
No, Royal Hawaiian. Royal Hawaiian is one of them. Iolani is white.
Right.
Yeah, Royal Hawaiian's pink, right? Royal Hawaiian is one of the most beautiful hotels in Waikiki. It was one of the originals, and it looks totally Tartarian. There's no way anybody back in the 1800s built that. So that's my take on the world's. Oh, Paulino and Chelsea, have you guys seen some of the displays from indigenous cultures that people that were forced to perform at these World's Fairs? It's so gross. Have you guys seen that? I think it's St. Louis especially.
No, I mean, I haven't seen that. I know that when I grew up here in Lansing, which is the capital of Michigan, we had beautiful brick roads, and they were never messed up, all downtown. And then I told Chelsea what they did is they ended up, I think about 25 years ago, they ripped them all up. And then they put regular, and they put them like all this modern stuff. They started chipping up, and then they took it all out and then tried to do the brick again, but now it doesn't stay because it's not good anymore because it's not the old technology. But they wanted that look back, and it looks horrible now because it just keeps falling apart.
Wow, my wife and I we call that the light bulb effect, where you know how the original light bulb was built to last and it never died, and so they had to go back and like take out parts of it and make it to where it actually did break. And we like refer that to everything now. So
for sure.
We had some of the. I think you found most of these. He finds most of them. He does a lot. He does a lot more research. I take care of the kids, but the old appliances and things, like he found a whole list of refrigerators and old appliances, can openers, and I was like, oh my gosh, these work so much better. And so, for example, like we got our house about 5 years ago, got new appliances and things like that. We're looking and we thought, oh, this is such a good feature. This is such a good feature. And he found this old video and it had all of these fridge features, and it had some that were even better. And these fridges lasted for years. We always joke about the next time we get a washer and dryer, it's like 0 smart features. I want a dial and a button that says go, because it's so ridiculous. And like I said, there's so many things to break on, and knowing cars and technology, they're pushing all that, but it's just more to fail.
And let me tell you real quick about what I've read and what I've seen about what they did to these indigenous people. Like they, especially 2 different tribes that I'm sure it was the colonizers themselves, the Jesuits, whatever you want to call them, the Masons. They were sailing the world too, exploring all during the 17 and 1800s. And they'd see these different indigenous people, especially super friendly, kind ones that would give them food and, invite them into their homes. That's totally characteristic of Filipinos, for one thing. When you go to the Philippines, the people that live there in the provinces are like that. I mean,
very friendly.
They're so friendly and so kind. They want you to try their food. They want to show you around their town. I mean, they're wonderful. So I can imagine these horrible explorers that went to these places and they're like, oh yeah, these people are dancing like this. Let's bring them to the World's Fair. We'll tell them that we're going to pay them a lot of money, and then we'll just kidnap them, and we'll take them to the World's Fair, and we'll force them to perform, or else we're going to beat them or kill them. That's what they did. So they did that in the Philippines to the Igorot tribe. There's an island in the Philippines called Negros. That's where the word Negro came from. It's not from Africa. It's that particular tribe because they were very dark and they had more curlyish hair. The Igorot tribe, and then also a tribe in the Congo in Africa. It took groups from both of those. Now imagine these people, they're in very, very warm tropical climates. These explorers load them onto their ships. They bring them to the US. They bring them to the World's Fairs, especially St. Louis. You can look up that one and see the pictures of what they did to these people. Then they put them in these like corrals, and they'd have like the Igorot tribe do their little dance around and everything. And they're used to a warm climate. And this is in the middle of winter now. It's snowing, and they're just wearing like a loincloth. They have to dance around. People are throwing bananas at them. People are like treating them like their animals. There's a picture of a little Filipino girl who's tied to one of the posts. She couldn't be more than 3 or 4 years old, and she's just crying. And then there's the Igorot tribe from Africa. They did the same thing. Like, okay, do your dances, or we're just going to beat you, kill you, take your women, whatever. And then they were forced to live on the grounds of the World's Fairs all during the winter too. Now, no heat. Just like they had to build their own straw huts out of whatever was available. It's nothing like their homeland. And a lot of them just died. I mean, it just makes me so sad to think that the same people that founded the nation of the US did that to people from other countries. And that the people who attended the World's Fairs participated. Like they were trained to think like these are lesser than human type of people. So we're going to just treat them like animals and throw food at them, you know? So you can do some research on the St. Louis World's Fair. You see what I'm talking about.
Well, when you've got the money, you can tell the people what to think, right? So.
Yeah. Oh, it's so sad. There's just the level of deception. Just because that's why there's a lot of those two different cultures located in St. Louis. There's a huge amount of Filipinos in Chicago, St. Louis. Well, they're all over the world, but this is from the early 1900s.
Everywhere I go, there's a Filipino.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Do you have any other research you guys would like to share before we got about 7 minutes left? Or anything you want to share with the audience?
Well, I mean, we got a lot of big things coming up. Like I was going to get into like the music came back around. I don't have that much time to talk about that, but so like 3 weeks ago, it started to appear again. And so, I have like before when you guys are doing the readers thing, I have my vocals. The guy, one of my guys is actually a famous musician. Chelsea actually had him on her
my iPod.
Her iPod.
Oh, nice.
And our neighbor actually used their music for their wedding. So like he's that famous. I'm not doing no name drops or anything, but so he's from Australia. So I have lessons at 8 like tonight, Eastern Standard Time, and I got to get up at 3 a.m. But anyway, so we're coming up with the whole thing to come out with my music, but we should have some vids. I should have 3 videos out starting probably in about 3 weeks.
Okay.
Music videos. I already got my first 3 that I'm going to do, and yeah, it's a whole thing. It was time to come back. I went golfing, met a guy that was a musician. They came and sprayed for mosquitoes. It's all natural, but they were spraying. That guy was a local famous from Flint, Michigan, a rapper 10 years ago.
Wow.
So we got into music. This is all in the same day. And then I told you I wasn't doing music now for like 6-7 months because I was doing all this other stuff all the same day. This is strange. The guy I met going golfing, he's a musician, but he's dating Miss Australia. And then the mosquito guy was a rapper. And then he asked me, because I said, hey, we got a record company now. And he's like, oh, you going to sign anybody? Never thought about that. And then that night I got an email from my vocal coach asking me, hey, do you still want to do this or what? Wow. And then I get a hold of him and then he goes, I got a guy from you, world famous guy from Australia.
Nice.
So the Australian thing on the same day. So it was weird.
Are you going to do a presentation or something on your webpage or on your YouTube channel or somewhere to when your music comes out so we can all hear it?
Oh, it'll be everywhere all at once.
Okay.
TikTok, cool. YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, our page. Yeah, so it's going to be blanking all over both our TikToks and all that. And then I'm going to do one, and then I'm going to do one the next day, and then I'm going to do one the next day, right in a row.
So you do the vocals. Do you play any instrument by any chance?
I'm starting to learn how to play the guitar.
It's like, not yet.
Not yet. Yeah. This is another good story. So like, A
He's
year,
full of them.
yeah, a
Go
year
figure.
before,
He's a
a year,
composer.
yeah, well, this is crazy. A year before I met Chelsea, my father, I kept dreaming of him. He had passed already, but I kept dreaming, and I kept hearing my father tell me to get a guitar, and then I couldn't get. It kept bugging me for like a week, and I was like, all right, I'll buy a guitar. Go on Marketplace, find a good guitar. I'm always a deal getter, so I got a really good deal. $400 guitar for $15. Can't beat it.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. And it had a kit, it had everything with it. But there was a sweet stand. The guy would not sell me the stand. I told Chelsea.
Okay.
And it was funny because she goes, "Oh, you got a guitar?" When we first started dating. I go, "Yeah." And I told her why. I go, "My father told me to get it, blah, blah, blah." And then when I started saying the story again, I told her, I go, "Haven't you noticed?" I started saying my dad told me to get it. Because all my dad's family all play instruments and stuff, even though my mom and dad were divorced. But then I thought about it. So when I got the guitar back out this time, it was the Elohim. So Yahweh himself was like, "Didn't I tell you to get that guitar all these years ago?" So it wasn't my dad that told me to get it. It was actually the Father that told me to get it all those years ago.
Right on. Right on. No, I asked you because Isaac and I are musicians here. We were played in a praise and worship band in church at one point, but
Wow.
We did that for like 3 years or something.
yeah, about 3 years. And Isaac's always
Yeah.
been, he's a drummer, but he also plays the ukulele. We call it ukulele,
Wow.
not ukulele like you say in the mainland. Ukulele here.
No offense, you just
And I
didn't
play
know.
keyboard, so yeah.
Actually,
a lot
You
of
got
Hawaiian
one.
I
bands.
actually got one for my birthday, a
Yeah,
ukulele or whatever.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's in the garage. I got to find it because
There
I
you
was going to give it to my
go.
son. I just bought my son 2 guitars actually because he keeps trying to mess with mine. So I bought him his own. I got a good deal on Marketplace. Marketplace is pretty good, man.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
love it too.
Yeah. So I know my fingers are going to start getting hurt for like a few weeks till I get the calluses and all that. So now I'm very excited about it. Yeah. So the music's going to be a big thing. It's just, once it goes out, I got to see what's going to do the best. All 3 different genres. I'm doing I'm just doing it all over. It's going to shock people.
Right on.
Like
Right
people.
on.
So yeah. So you'll see. It's just a thing.
Okay, well, with that, we're going to have to end. Paulina, would you mind closing us in prayer, brother?
Oh, I'm not really good at that. I'm not noble. You guys can do it. I'm serious.
Okay,
I
Isaac,
mean,
would you mind
honest. Yeah.
No,
I
I
think
think
for it, Isaac.
Chelsea. I think Chelsea
No,
needs to close
no.
us in prayer.
Oh no, I am no. Oh no.
Okay.
I
Don't worry,
am
those
the
are-
least.
They're
Yeah.
our guests. They're our guests.
I'm not good
All
on
right.
that spot.
It's okay. You're a guest. Go, Isaac, go for
I'm
it.
just gonna talk story with the king. So.
Okay.
Father,
Nice.
we
Go
thank
for
you
it.
so much for everything that you have given us. Thank you for this time that you have allowed us to spend. And thank you for the discussions that you have unearthed and brought before us. We thank you so much that you have continued to teach us, and your Ruach HaKodesh, Holy Spirit, continues to lead us into all truth. We praise you and honor you for that. We continue to lift you up for the fact that these are truths that will bring us closer to you, and that is our main goal, is to edify the kingdom of heaven. So we thank you for this time. We thank you for our amazing brother and sister for being willing to come and share this time with us. May more of this come. I would like to see this happen even more frequently than it has previously. But above all else, Yeshua, your will be done. And we thank you again for allowing all the tech to go very smoothly in this. Above all else, thank you. In Yeshua's name, amen.
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 All right. Thank
That's
you,
right.
Flat Out Truth, for joining us. If you guys are just coming in now, rewind to the beginning of the video. You can see Chelsea and Paulino, hear their story, and we look forward to having them on sometime again. So with that, a big shaloha to all you guys, and you guys have a wonderful week. Blessings, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.